We are going live on Facebook as well. There's some problem logging into Facebook this morning. Well, I guess we'll not be able to go live on Facebook today. Never mind. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Empowering Morning Conversations. Now, the purpose of Empowering Morning Conversations is that we can make a huge difference to our life. The purpose is that we don't have to live in the default mode. We don't have to have, when I ask someone, how's life? And they say, all right, life is as usual. So we are definitely not interested in just the usual life, right? I mean, can you imagine me at the age of 69, if I have to have a usual life, it'll be quite boring, right? Ratanji and Hasina ji, we've seen it all, we've done it all, then life would become quite boring, isn't it? So we understand why it's important for us to create life. Now, maybe for the younger people, they're still discovering life, they're still having a lot of challenges because they're trying to make it, okay? But even there, people who've been doing the same job for some time, or maybe they're in the same marriage for some time, you'll notice that after some time, life becomes mundane and ordinary, right? Are you going to let it become like that? Are you interested in being in a default mode in your life where we end up blaming and complaining and reacting and resisting? And, one of the signs of usual life is that mind is saying, oh, this should not be happening. Not this, not this, not this. In my coaching practice, I hear a lot of this, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. Then I ask them, okay, what do you want then? I'll have to think about it. Now that's the default mode. Okay, so we are getting out of that, and we're getting out of it now, and we're getting out of every morning. So guys, today we are going to take a re-look at why are we here. Would you like to do that? So we are here so that we can have a life that comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. So here's a suggestion I have for all of you. Every morning, like you have certain tablets 3 times a day. You go to the doctor, he will write down 1 tablet 3 times a day. So my prescription to you is chant this statement 10 times, 3 times a day. So let's start now. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Now, it's very interesting that that's what we always want, isn't it? What we want and what we do are 2 separate things. So what will happen if you keep remembering that all I want is that all of life comes to me with ease, with joy, and with glory? So yesterday I was talking to someone who wanted to, or rather they've just engaged me for their company as a coach. And they said, sir, what is your philosophy in training and coaching? So I said, my philosophy is that performance and well-being, they both go together. So they said, why, sir? I said, because we are all very familiar that we give our 100% to what we are doing. We are so performance oriented that we forget that without well-being, there is a limit to how much performance you can do. Because if you don't keep your well-being intact, your performance is going to be impacted at some point or the other. So the whole idea is to have a holistic life. not getting sucked into one particular thing. Lots of businessmen also tell me, sir, मैं तो अपना business का prisoner बन गया. I've become a prisoner of my business. So I have lots of friends who start business so that they can be their own master. So yesterday also I was talking to a senior vice president of a company, So I said, what's your long-term objective? So he says, sir, I don't know about long-term objective, but in the next 5 years' time, right, I want to start my own business. I said, wow, congratulations. So I said, I'll just want to give you a piece of data. I don't want to discourage you. But do you know how many of the CEOs whom I have been coaching, they all told me the same thing. And 6 of them, they went out to start their own business. 4 of them were back in job after 2 years. So he says, Acha, really? And I said, they were highly successful guys. I mean, they had a meteoric rise in their corporate career. So what do you think happened? So I asked him, how much money are you earning now? So he gives me a very fantastic figure. I'm shocked. I said, oh, this is what you guys earn these days, huh? Young fellow, just 36 years old, earning 70 lakh rupees per annum. I said, wow, fantastic. I said, listen, if you start your own business, how much work will you have to do to start taking home that much money? Then he started thinking, oh, sir, looks like a daunting job. I mean, how come it's easy to earn in the corporate and not so easy when you start doing your own? So the first thing, if you ask him, why do you want to do it? He'll say, I want to be my own master. Why do we want to be my own master? Because my time will be my time. Why do you want your time to be your time? So that I can do all the things which I want to do and I'm not able to do them. So what do you really want? You want to do all the things that you really want to do. And that's why you're earning money and that's why you're doing whatever you're doing. So what you want is all of life to come to you with ease, joy, and glory. This is what we want to recover here. Don't you think so? And how do we do that? We help you to shift from your survival mode to the create mode. We help you to dissipate all the negativity that we pick up from time to time from other people and the circumstances. We want to become possibility seekers rather than complainers. Time you might be spending silently or otherwise complaining. Sometimes, all you have to do is ask somebody, how are you? And the floodgates open, blah, 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 COVID, this, that, right? So we want to help you to increase your focus and energy. All right. So what are we going to do today? We're going to be seeking certain answers. Okay. Now, most people that I talk to, they would love to be powerful and effective in their life. Most of the people, I mean, is there anybody here who does not want to be powerful and effective in his life? If you don't want to be that, please raise your hand. So if you want to be powerful and effective in your life, there are 2 questions I'll have to ask you. In your opinion, what is powerful?
Independence.
Okay, for you, independence means powerful. Vetri, Chol, sir.
Financial freedom, sir.
For you, financial freedom is power. Okay. But then Genghis Khan must have been wrong, right? You know what? Genghis Khan found out at a very young age that money does not give you power. Power can give you any amount of money that you want. That's what he found out. Yes, Malika ji, what is power?
No, power is the word, what I speak, the action, what I did, reach to the whole world. That is the power to me.
Oh, very nice. Thank you very much for sharing
But
that.
I have a question. I have a question to Vetri. Can I ask this now?
Yeah, you can ask him.
Yeah, thank you for your appreciation, first of all. And what is financial freedom? That I want to know, because many people are telling financial freedom. I want to know really what is financial freedom.
That I can tell you. Financial freedom is when you don't need money anymore.
Okay.
So there are many ways to achieve it. Go take a small cottage in Himalayas, buy a lion cloth, you'll have financial freedom. Second definition of financial freedom is that you get rid of all your greed. After all, what does a human being need to survive? Lion cloth, little bit of salt and little bit of what do you call that? Rice, right? But we want masala, we want some sabzi also. Yeah, seriously, no, I'm not talking like a financial advisor. Huh? Nowadays, you meet a lot of youngsters, they say, sir, I want to retire by the age of 45. Wow, even I used to think like that. Now I say, I don't want to be retired, What is the point?
Sir.
Yeah,
Even we don't want to
retired.
retire. Yeah.
Re means again. So they want to be again tired. Retired. So what is financial freedom? That we got sidetracked with. So what was the question I asked?
It was power.
Yeah.
Body.
Yes, Kunen.
Good morning, sir. No, sir, go ahead. Just wanted to.
So according to you, we want to be effective and we want to be powerful, isn't it? So let's be very clear about that. What is powerful? At least I will tell you my definition of powerful. Powerful is opposite of being a victim in life. See, whatever definitions you might have of power is not what I'm talking about. Powerful like politician, powerful like warriors, powerful like bullies, not that power. Okay. For me, power is that when I am self-determined, that I can determine things in my own life. Power is when I am cause, right? Weak is whenever I'm living in my life as be cause, When my reasons and justifications are running my life, I'm a victim, I'm not being powerful at all. When I can see myself as creating my life, that's when I'm being powerful, right? So as long as I'm being a victim, I'm not being powerful. So what is effective then? Now, if you are an employee, who defines your effectiveness? Yeah, can you mute yourself? This funny sound that's coming, Samina, I think. What is effective? Come on, guys, speak up. This is a conversation. This is not a Viva Voce exam. Yeah, so when your employer is defining your effectiveness, what is that? Janagi, listen to my question, please repeat the question vocally, that will be better. Then we know what you're understanding. When your employer is deciding about your effectiveness, how does he do that? He tells you what is effective. Hello? Yes. Why don't you answer? When your employer decides what is effective, what is that?
It is to say, good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. It is to say that it is the employer who decides the effectiveness of the employees.
No, I'm saying, how does he determine the effectiveness of his employee?
He determines through the performance,
So what is he looking at?
through salary packages.
Hello. He's not measuring your effectiveness through salary packages, ma.
Okay.
So if I'm your employer and I want to know whether you're effective or not, what will I be looking at?
Potential.
No. What will you be looking at? You can't be looking at potential.
The
Performance.
goal, sir.
It's
The goal
performance.
he has finished.
One by one, please. How do you, let us say I am your employee, you want to know my effectiveness. How are you going to know that?
So the daily goals, whether he has finished or not.
So whether I have produced the results that he has given me, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, the next question is, how do you determine your own effectiveness?
When I am fulfilling his requirements, the employees.
No, I'm not talking about your effectiveness with regard to your employees. How do you measure your own effectiveness in life?
The happiness, what I am having.
You will measure your effectiveness by the happiness that you're having.
Yes, sir.
That you are having tons and tons of happiness, but your business is doing minus. Then
The
that will be effective.
happiness will come when doing everything.
I know. So how do you measure your effectiveness? By your happiness?
Is it productive? By being productive?
Yeah. And how do you define productive in your own life for yourself?
Yeah. In my life, if I'm being productive, I'm not wasting time. And every time I'm being productive, either doing positive things or, and as well, earning some money. So both the ways. That is, I have to be useful to my family also. So whatever
that's
things
all
I'm
fine.
doing.
Okay, so you have your own measure of your own effectiveness, right?
Yes, yes.
So there is one measure that other people might have for you that you are effective or not, and you have a measure for yourself whether you're being effective or not. Am I right? Look, somebody's microphone is unmuted and it's causing a lot of disturbance over here. Thank you. Okay, but would it be right to say that if we are interested in being powerful and effective, we would like to be powerful, effective, and have well-being also in our life? How long will you be powerful and effective if you have no well-being?
Yes, we want.
Correct. So how do you define well-being in your case, like individuals?
I should have enough finance to handle all my basic needs as well as my shelter, health, everything.
That is well-being.
And I should have to do some social, involve in my social work also. So in all the ways, finance should not be any problem in my life.
No, that's fine. But my question is,
that is what is the well-being in my case.
So when I'm talking about well-being, is not about the material things or money. So what is well-being?
Health.
Right. That is well-being, right? That you're feeling well, you're feeling happy. Okay. If you're having stress in your life, would you say that is well-being?
No.
If you're worrying all the time, is that well-being?
No.
Right? If you're always being afraid of, what is going to happen tomorrow, that is well-being?
No.
And how many of you have actually noticed that when your well-being is down, your effectiveness is also down?
Correct.
Right? So now you ask yourself the question, you want to be effective in life, obviously. You want to be effective in life according to your measure, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So if you want to be effective according to your own measure, you will find that your effectiveness for different areas of your life, you know that, correct?
Right.
Now, is it clear and specific? So a lot of people don't even have clarity about that. A lot of people don't even have clarity about what is, effectiveness for themselves, whether they have those things or not. So isn't it absurd that we don't have clarity on that? Yeah, can you mute yourself, please? Somebody is not muting their microphone. That's causing a lot of disturbance. Please mute yourself. Speak. Unmute only when you have to speak, please. Hello, are you there? Are you hearing me? Now, why is it that when we ourselves want certain things in our life, why would we not have clarity about it? That's a question I'm asking. Anybody can answer it. Raise your hands. I will ask you to speak. That when you want.
So come again with the question, sir. When you are effective.
You want effectiveness in your life, yes?
Yes, sir.
And you want effectiveness in different areas of your life. It's not only in one area, no?
Yes, definitely.
So in that case, my question is, a lot of people are not even clear about what is that clarity that they desire. And why are they not clear about the clarity that they desire? So whenever you want to speak, please virtually raise your hand. When I ask you to speak, you can speak. Otherwise, keep your mic muted. Yes, Giri. Go ahead. Giri Garu, you raise your hand, please speak.
Thank you, sir. The only thing is the wheel of life, sir. Most of the time, I can understand the wheel of life, but I am not following that wheel of life.
But
Sometimes
sir, gentlemen, there is a very specific question that I asked. Did you hear that question, sir?
Yes, sir.
What was the question I asked?
It's the effectiveness.
What is the specific question that I asked? Can somebody tell him, please? I'm sure Kunain was listening, so he's going to tell you that. Kunain, what is the question I asked?
The question was, sir, that why there is no clarity what we desire in our life.
That is the question I asked, Giri Garu. We know what we desire. You might have done the exercise of wheel of life and everything. So at least you will have some clarity. But I'm asking about people who don't have clarity about what they desire. When it is your own desire, how is it that you are not having clarity in your own desires?
Because of the environment and the distractions.
Now that is the answer. See, what is the environment doing? It is pulling your attention on certain things and you get stuck over there. And then all your attention is taken by that and you are neglecting everything else. That's what happens to most people, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Good. So that's a great answer. Thank you very much for answering that.
Thank you, sir.
So that's one of the reasons why we are not being powerful. Is that it? So you know what is powerful and you know what is effective, right? So what we want to find out is that what are the keys to being powerful and effective in our life? That's the purpose of today and maybe a couple of other sessions that you're going to be with me. All right. So can you see the screen? Now there are these keys that we have to being powerful and effective in life. Number one, deal with your interferers. Now, some of you have been with me for quite some time, so you know what is the meaning of the word interferer. Yeah. So who's going to explain this formula of performance and what is an interferer? So when I say who's going to explain, that means one of you should raise your hands and say, yes, I will explain. Yes, Vetrivel.
Sir, good morning again, and sir, good morning to everyone. You taught us the secret formula, very effective formula is performance equal to potential minus interferers. So we have great potential in us and it should reflect in performance, but many times it is not happening. That is because our own interferers are stopping us. It can be mental, it can be physical, and it can be sometimes environment also, but mostly we are working on
emotional also.
Emotional also. And we are working on deeply. Today also your topic is kind of a mental, and I understand the well-being concept as a mental and physical well-being is taken care, then the effectiveness is taken care. That's
even emotional well-being will have to be taken care of. No?
Emotional. That's it. Thank you, sir.
So the first thing, ladies and gentlemen, is to become and always be aware of your interferers. Right? So let us say that when Ratanji started his first business, there was a certain kind of interferers he might have been dealing with at that time. Okay. If he was to start the business today, there will be, do you think there will be no interferers? What do you say, Ratanji?
There is always an interference which we cannot foresee till you jump into the environment.
Yeah, and a lot of people then they will do some preemptive planning about the marketplace and everything and try to find out as many interferers there are before they come and deal with them. And there are some interferers which will always be a surprise. Like the COVID was a surprise for many business people. And a lot of business plans went awry because nobody could predict that this is going to happen.
Yeah, and policy changes bring surprises.
Yeah. For example, now maybe your whole business was built on importing, 200,000 masks.
Right.
Right. And all of a sudden there is a policy change that now masks are no longer compulsory.
Right.
That becomes an unknown interferer.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm suggesting to us is that if you want to be powerful and effective is that you keep on keeping a very sharp eye on, overt or covert, known or unknown interferers. Like consciously operating from, yes, there are going to be interferers. There may already be interferers. And let me identify them and learn how to deal with them. By the way, that's why you come here every morning. So with our questioning and with, the kind of conversations that we have here, you get to discover a lot of stuff that you are blind to. There is a lot of stuff that you know very well. And you're already trying to deal with them, and we give you more tools for that. And there's a lot of stuff that we are blind to. We don't know that we don't even know. Correct. So dealing with interferers, and the beauty is that, see, you are not doing anything all by yourself, are you? So if you've got something you want to achieve, you will have to work with other people also, right? And now your effectiveness depends upon the effectiveness of other people. That means that now you will have to identify the interferers of other people also and help them to overcome their interferers also, so that you can be effective altogether. Yeah. Now, unconsciously, you know all these things, isn't it? But how much time do we consciously allot to identify known or unknown, overt or covert interferers that we might be having? So what is an overt interferer? Neeti, can you explain to everybody? Overt interferer and covert interferer with examples if you have any.
So one is where we are aware of the interferer in us, and the second is where we are not aware of the interferer in us. So the interferer that we are aware of is the one that we are, which is a little easier for us to address. For example, like what Ratanji said, if there is a location issue, place issue, which is causing a concern in a business idea, so that can be addressed. But when there is an unknown fear in us, I will not succeed. I was told I am not made for business, but I am getting into it. Will I succeed or not? Those kind of thoughts that play at the back of our mind, those become the unknown interferers for us. Those are the more difficult to handle because they keep haunting us or hounding us.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Now I have a question for everybody. In the last 3 months, okay, in the last 3 months, how many of you discovered one of your hidden interferers? You never knew it before. Suddenly you realize, oh, this is an interferer that I have. Yes, Neeti.
So I did, in the sense, I knew this interferer was there. I thought I'd got over it, but then I realized that no, it is still existent in me. That realization has happened, let's say, in the last 15, 20 days. And before that also, there have been many, but the most recent is this, what I had also discussed with you in the forum about the fall, the trauma behind a fall. So that I thought was over, but it wasn't over. I'm still working on it.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Now, is it something that you can share about? If you can, then you share it. Otherwise, don't. Because that will maybe remind somebody else also that, oh, I also had that. So in the last 3 months, yes.
So this was back in 1992. I was coming down some steps in a AC air-conditioned market place, and I had a fall. I have no idea what I was thinking, how many steps I fell, whether it was 1, 2, 10. It wasn't 10. It was just 1 or 2 steps. But the angle in which I fell, I had a huge compound fracture that. And I was by myself. One of the shopkeepers was kind enough to come help me, give me a cushion, call up. That time the mobile phones were not there, so called up my family, and that is how they came, and the ambulance came and they had to pick me up. The leg, the way it had broken, when I looked at it, when they were trying to pick me up on the stretcher, I felt, there's no way I can save this leg. It'll have to be amputated. For 6 hours, I lived that fear within me. And I couldn't even voice it to anybody at home till the doctor came, one of the renowned doctors of Kolkata at that time. He came, he looked, and he says, no, we'll fix it. We don't, it's going to be a long surgery, but we'll fix it. It took me 2 years to begin walking normally. My body had forgotten how to walk. So I had to get back the body coordination and learn how to walk. I suffered limb shortening by 1.5 inches. So again, that was also a challenge to, kind of incorporate that into your walking style. And to about 15 months later, when they had to remove the implants because my body was rejecting the implants, they realized the bone healing was not complete and the bone was still very weak. So he had to give me external support on the knee with the plaster and the hinges. And the doctor was very upset because he said, I don't know if you will get up from the bed because your bone is so weak. But I got up, I walked again. And again, I had to learn how to walk because again, the coordination was disturbed. And I lived with that 1.5 inches of limb shortening for 25 years. And in 2017, suddenly I had a pain in that same area. And 15 days later, I was operated to address the cause of the pain, which was the bend in the bone. And this was another doctor. He, as a gift to me, I think, it was God's grace. He corrected my limb shortening, and from 2017 onwards, I'm walking straight. I'm walking normal. That is the whole story. Thank you.
Yeah, but what is the hidden interferer? That's what I'm not able to.
It is the fall, the sound of the bone break, the entire process, healing process, the changes in life that you go through, the hindrances in life that come. It's all of that back in 1992, counseling and all was not so much in, but that sound of the break, the hurt, the pain, all of that has still remained to a certain extent inside me. I can still hear it.
So how is that interferer affecting you?
When I see people walking with a little difficulty or standing near steps, the fear that they might fall, the fear that they will hurt themselves. When I hear a person fall, it kind of just makes me I think I scream louder than the person who's fallen. And that is what I am working on, so that I am not being overprotective. If somebody is standing near the steps, I can just, make them conscious that, there's a step behind you, be careful, and just let it be, rather than get gripped into my fear that something will happen.
Okay,
Because
so
the moment I'm getting gripped, I'm putting out a negative energy.
So since you spend most of your time at home with your parents, how does it affect you there?
So today, my father walks with a walker because he had a fall last January, 17th January. Both my parents fell together that day. And that was a very traumatic experience where I felt my mother is probably gone and injured both her legs.
No, that's all right. That's happened a year back, right? How is it affecting you now?
Now, when I see him walk with support or without support, I am being extra protective. I don't want another fall.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear that fall. I can't see that injury coming from a fall, that setback in life from a fall. All of that.
Yeah. So even though he is not currently falling, your anxiety all the time that he might fall, he might fall, he might fall, that bothers you, right?
Yes.
It takes away your well-being. That's how that interferer is affecting you.
Yes.
Right? Thank you so much for sharing it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my question is, in the last, 15 days or a month, what are the hidden interferers that you have found out? So Giri Garu has got his hand raised. Let's see what he has to say. Yes, go ahead, Giri. What is the interferer that you have found out?
The interference is my family, sir. Actually, 2-3 times in COVID, I think last 6 months I had a fever, but I overcame from that. Even 3-4 days, 1 week like that. But when this fever is for my wife, the complete the calmness has gone from our family, sir. At that time, I was very frustrated and anxiety. Then I came to know that this is the thing. I have to take care of the family. When I need help from my family, my mother-in-law, like that, they are all afraid of that. You please don't come here. Otherwise, you have to stay somewhere separately. But I know this COVID is nothing. This is a virus. We know.
I got it. So what is the hidden interferer that you found out?
Whatever it may be, first we have to face that issue. So first let me take care of with allopathy medicine and then natural medicine. And we separately wanted to, my wife live in the another room, and we are taking care of her because we are not able to admit in the hospital also, but she is not cooperating. But somewhere the breathing is also under control. The only thing we have taken all the risk, and now we overcame from this, sir.
Vetri, can you ask him what is the hidden interferer? Please ask him in Tamil, maybe. That's what the response.
கிரி, உங்களுக்கு எது தடையா இருந்துச்சு? உங்களை எது தடைப்படுத்துது, உங்களை எது கட்டுப்படுத்துதுன்னு நீங்க நினைக்கிறீங்க? 15 நாள்ல ஏதாவது கண்டுபிடிச்சிருக்கீங்களா? அது நீங்க சொல்றது உங்களோட பிரச்சனை.
Yeah, what he's talking about is the known interferer, something that is interfering.
It's problems, yeah.
There may not be a hidden one, but if there is, he can talk about that. In the meantime, let us talk to Ashok ji. Ashok ji, good morning.
Good morning. I have one doubt. When you say hidden interferer, that is imaginary or it really does exist? That is
not imaginary. Sometimes what happens is you never knew that was one of your interferers. And then suddenly you realize, oh, this is one of my interferers.
I agreed. But when we use the word
hidden means unknown to you.
Before that, before it happened. So a time has come when it was hidden and it has become known now.
Yes.
That is. So you want us to tell you which were hidden or unpredicted, and it happened, and then how we have taken care of them.
No, I'm not talking about that. See, first, both can be also possible. One is that in the last 15 days or 1 month, have you discovered any of your unknown or hidden interferers? Okay, oh, this is my interferer. And if you discovered it, you might have dealt with it also, no? When we find out something, then we deal with it.
Yeah.
My question is, have you discovered any unknown interferers? Sometimes we find out, oh, this is also an interferer for me. You have not discovered. But you know a lot of, obviously in your long life, you have dealt with many interferers.
Oh, yeah, many. That's why I asked that's why I said whether it was hidden before it came to be known. And after it became known, how do we handle it? How we are taking care of it?
That's a separate topic. That when you know what your interferer is, then how do you handle it? Sometimes we find our own way to handle it. Sometimes we take the help of someone, or you come to morning conversation or something like that. Right? So I'm talking about if you have discovered any of your hidden ones in the last 15, 20 days.
Yeah. In last, not 15, 20 days, maybe a month or month and odd. Hidden interfere is a concentration. So many things which need to be done and cannot be done because of the physical restraint on physical movements. Not to drive yourself, not to be away after the sunset, not to mix with the crowd. Those interferers were not known earlier. Now, having known them, it is difficult to take care, because anytime we go near maybe 5 or 6 unknown people, suddenly we find out whether the mask is perfectly there or not, or something like that. Yes, there are hidden interference of fear now in mixing with the crowd, even our own relatives. That is the biggest interferer which has come up in last 15 days. Cannot go for marriages, cannot go for birthdays, cannot go for even the last rites. We can't go.
And or you can go, like my wife. We went for a wedding, me and my wife, and after that we were ill for 8-10 days. Anyways, good. Thank you very much for sharing that. Yes, Gautam.
So, what I get this interfering my decision, that is feeling insecure. Suppose going to take the decision in a business venture, almost 30-40% I was prepared, but again due to the interference of failure, when I'm discussing with the other people, they said it's not time to invest or like that, this thing, and then I came back. It affecting my performance.
Okay, very nice. Thank you for sharing about your interferer. But the reason I'm asking you about your hidden interferers is that if you're conscious about your interferers, you will discover what they are. All right. So sometimes you will discover it if you are consciously looking for it. Other times you may not be conscious about it until you get stopped by something. है ना, जब कोई चीज रुकावट बनती है तब आपको पता लगता है कि कोई ना कोई इंटरफेयर है. Then you find out. Otherwise, now tell me, if you're going to wait for getting stopped and then you find out what your interferer is that good? Or is it better to find out your interferer before you get stopped? Yes, Ashok ji.
Yeah, now I realize that we were to start a project sometime last year in Gujarat. And then so many things happened, delay. But now that owner has decided that within next 1 month, he is going to start. I have decided that I will not be going to the site, and it is not feasible for me to go to site, number 1. Number 2, my senior engineer also cannot go to the site. He also has crossed 70, which was for nearly 30 years now. So what we decided day before yesterday, interferer was how to commission the equipment, because that knowledge is with me only of commissioning that particular machine. It is not shared in manual or nowhere. And that is how we are in business. So I have decided to make a prototype in the office, in our office, teach the junior staff how to commission those machines and take care of them. So the hidden interferer was my authority, which is restricted to me to go to site and commission, which now I am giving up that and making sure that my juniors know, so that I don't have to go to that site and will not to have a hidden sleepless nights because the machine cannot be commissioned.
Yeah. So
thank you.
By finding out, thank you for sharing. So by finding out what the interferer was, you were able to create a possibility of how to deal with it.
Correct.
Right. Now, this interferer you found out after we were getting stopped.
Yes.
Right. Now, if you had anticipated that this kind of a thing can stop you, then in a preemptive manner, you would have already trained your staff to deal with such situations, right?
Sure.
So this is a beautiful example, which I'm trying to tell you, that if we are able to identify the interferers in advance, because they are going to come, we know that.
Yeah.
We are all experienced in that much experience everybody has in life to know that some interferer or the other is definitely going to come. So if I'm able to identify it well in advance, then I will not be wasting time at that very, when something is urgently required, then we are wasting time over there.
I can add one thing. Now that even when you again that plant is about 5-storied high.
Oh.
Now earlier in the plant, the lifts were not common. They were always staircases. Here I have put the lift. The interferer is that if I have to climb 5-storied 5 times a day, sorry, I am not going to climb the stairs. So better to have a lift. And I had to convince the owner, that ye 5 lakh rupees waste nahi jayega, don't worry about it. But that was taken care last year without knowing the COVID restriction. But installing a lift that I will not be able to climb 5 times a day. The project was with the lift, and we made a terrace on the top so that one can see maybe 7-8 kilometer scenery around. And that was the false reason given to the owner. Are tumhare guest aa jayenge, bolenge, are itna bada building, chalo terrace pe jate hai, you can have a party there. You can keep it. But that was the hidden requirement, my hidden requirement, which was converted into possibility that the money can be spent and can be useful to the owner also.
Yeah, Malika ji, that's an example of preemptive planning. And risk management is an example of preemptive planning. That discovering something that can go wrong before it goes wrong and finding a solution for that. So interferers are like that, right? So if you know what the interferers are. So I just want to recontextualize what we've been doing today. The topic for today and the rest of the days is going to be keys to being powerful and effective. Yeah. And today we are only talking about dealing with our interferers. Okay. And there are many ways of dealing with interferers. First one is to identify them. And that's what people are sharing about, what all interferers they have discovered. So anybody else who's got an example of, now forget about the hidden ones, any interferer you discovered and you overpowered it. Like we have Geet with us. Many, I think more than 8 or 9 or 12 months before, she was in a program with me and she discovered one of our interferers. And then she overcame that interferer. And today she's doing many things that she was not doing before. Right, Geet? Would you like to give an example of that? What was that interferer that you discovered and you overpowered that?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Actually, my basic problem was that
means you gave example of 3 different categories in relationships. It was owl, it was tortoise, and it was one more.
Yeah, that's okay. What was the interferer? Just tell them the interferer.
So I thought that I was never able to be assertive in my relationships, and I was quite introvert, and I could not even convey myself, my feelings and whatever it was. So this was the interferer.
And then you found a way to overcome it, right?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. And what became possible because you got rid of your interferer?
Yes, sir. I was I think I was able to gain much more from my relationships. I was able to communicate and convey my feelings also, not always just following the things. Rather, I could say what I want and what
You could
makes me
even do
feel
what you
happy.
want. You could even start doing what you want, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And you're doing it.
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you very much. So here's a
Thank you,
question
sir.
for everyone. Thank you, Geet. Here's a question for everyone. What is the interferer that is stopping me from getting what I really want in my life? Please get the answer to this question. Yes, Malika ji. Please go ahead.
For me also, it happens long ago. There is, while we start to US, we are supposed to leave India by September 15. Whereas 10 days before itself, my husband got ill. He was fallen ill and got fever. From that day onwards, I'm telling, say, days are very nearer, only 10 days are left over. You can test for COVID. If it is there, we can able to postpone the ticket accordingly. The ticket cost will be comparatively less when we postponed it. But that day, even though I give the warning, he didn't go for the COVID test. Then on September 10th, myself and my daughter, grandchildren, everyone fall ill. And I told, at least now we have to go for the COVID test, and accordingly we have to act on that. Then immediately we went for that. Then it was positive. Then we gave the information to my daughter. Then they postponed it. They could able to postpone, since at least 5 days was left over. Say they could able to postpone for with the less amount of loss. So that is what I could say. That is what was happened in our journey. If the interference, what happened in our journey. It's, yeah, planning is very much record. That's what I understand from sir's speak, isn't it, sir? That is, we have to analyze.
Preemptive.
Yeah, preemptive.
Okay, now the next question, Malika ji, you can please mute yourself now. Thank you so much for sharing. Now my question to everybody, and I really want you to think about it. If you have an answer, you can give it now or you can give it tomorrow morning. The question is very simple. Everybody has got something which they want very badly, very dear desire they have, and that desire is not getting fulfilled. So what is the interferer that you have that is not allowing you to fulfill your desire? What is the interferer you have that is not allowing you to get the result that you want? So find out firstly, which is the desire that is not getting fulfilled. What is the desire that you have given up on? What is the desire which you now think is not possible for me? And then ask this question, what is the interferer that is not allowing me to fulfill my own desire? Now you may be knowing about it, which is good. If you don't know about what it is, then you may have to find out. What is the interferer that I have that is not allowing me to fulfill my desire? What is the interferer that I have? It could be mental, it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be energetic. What is the interferer that I have that does not allow me to fulfill my desire? What is the interferer that I have that does not allow me to fulfill my desire? So first of all, you guys, all of you have fulfilled all your desires, or what? So are there any desires which you are unable to fulfill? And if that is the case, then what is the interferer that is not allowing you to fulfill that desire? Now, being in this question is going to open up huge possibilities for you. Yes, Niti ji.
Sir, until this moment, I used to think that the right opportunity has not come my way. But suddenly, when you repeated your statement so many times, I feel that is also acting as an interferer. Am I stopping by thinking that way the right opportunities have not come to me?
Yeah, you can extrapolate a little and say that what have I done to find the right opportunities?
Right.
Yeah, what are the opportunities that I'm not even willing to pursue? What stops me from pursuing and discovering opportunities?
Right.
Great, fantastic. That's a great insight. Nowadays, I'm spending more time finding out opportunities for you than you are spending, I think. Did you have any more conversations with that guy?
No, sir. He said he'll get back. Let's see.
He'll never get back. He's too busy. You'll have to remind him.
I know, I will. But I don't
imagine. You cannot even imagine in your wildest imagination how busy that guy is.
I'll follow up.
I think last night he must have been awake the whole night. They were having their yearly business review thing going on. So, so just tweak him from time to time, all right?
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, rest of you have been rendered mute. Or are you discovering what is the interferer that you have that is not allowing you to fulfill your desire? So anyways, this is a good question to leave you with for the day. What is the interferer you have that is not allowing you to fulfill your desire? Okay, so when you come back tomorrow morning, I think you would have done sufficient research to find out what is the interferer that you have that is not allowing you to fulfill your desire. Now, there are many people here, I know them quite well, you know, so even I know what your interferer is. The power is that you should find out what it is. I can easily tell you what your interferer is. All right. So what is the interferer that you have that is not allowing you to fulfill your desire? Okay. So on that note, you guys have a wonderful day, right? Make magic in your life, fulfill all your desires, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir, and God bless everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.